When you stop talking to a woman, something powerful happens, not just in her, but within you. The silence that follows isn't emptiness, it's transformation. The Stoics taught that a man's greatest weapon isn't his words, but his restraint. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And when you go silent, you begin to prove this truth. At first, she may think your silence is a weakness, that you're hurt, angry, or trying to punish her. But soon she realizes something she didn't expect. You're not reacting. You're not chasing. You've simply disappeared into peace. That silence is not punishment. It's presence. The kind of presence that no longer seeks her approval. You see, the modern man is taught to over-communicate, to constantly explain himself, to fight for attention. But the Stoic man does the opposite. He knows that the more he explains, the more power he gives away. Silence, when rooted in discipline, becomes the language of strength. Because when a man stops talking, he forces the world and the woman to listen differently. Inside her mind, your silence triggers curiosity and confusion. She begins to question, why did he stop? Has he moved on? Is he done with me? The absence of your voice becomes louder than any argument ever could. She replays your conversations, searches for meaning in your last words, and wonders if your silence hides peace or indifference. What she doesn't understand is that your silence isn't a strategy, it's evolution. A Stoic doesn't go silent to manipulate. He goes silent to regain control over himself. He doesn't seek revenge. He seeks balance. He doesn't use silence to punish her. He uses it to protect his peace. Because when a man detaches, the woman feels a shift, not in words, but in energy. Your silence shows her something terrifying, and that she no longer has emotional control. She cannot provoke you, cannot feed on your attention, cannot pull you back into her emotional storm. And that absence of reaction hits harder than anger ever could. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's what silence teaches, mastery. But here's the paradox. The quieter you become, the more noise she hears. When you no longer text her, argue, or seek clarity, her ego begins to panic. She tries to appear unaffected, posting, smiling, pretending to move on. But it's all performance. Underneath, she's replaying everything, wondering if she pushed too far, if she lost something real, or if you simply stopped caring. This is where your silence becomes the mirror of truth, because in that quiet space, her real intentions appear. If she valued your presence, she'll feel the void. If she was there for her ego, she'll seek new validation elsewhere. Either way, your silence exposes everything you need to know. The Stoic doesn't chase the answer, he observes it unfold. Silence to him is not weakness, it's wisdom. It is how he learns who respects him in his absence and who only valued him for his reaction. Over time, as you remain calm and composed, something else happens. She begins to feel your gravity again. That invisible pull that once made her attracted to you in the first place. Because women are drawn to men who are anchored, men who don't beg to be understood. The more you speak, the more predictable you become. The more silent you stay, the more mysterious and grounded you appear. And this mystery isn't about manipulation, it's about peace. A woman cannot respect a man who cannot sit with silence. She cannot admire a man whose emotions are dictated by hers, but she will always feel drawn to the one who stands still while others crumble under noise. That's what Stoic silence represents, calm dominance. You are not silent because you're weak. You are silent because you refuse to let emotion govern your actions. And in that quiet strength, you become untouchable. She will eventually test your silence. Maybe she'll reach out casually, pretending it's nothing. Maybe she'll get angry, trying to provoke a reaction. Maybe she'll even walk away to see if you'll chase. But no matter what she does, your answer remains the same. Peace. You stay grounded, controlled, and centered in purpose. This is where most men fail. They break the silence too soon. They let fear or loneliness trick them into chasing again. But the Stoic man understands that silence is not a tactic. It's truth. It's a reminder that you are the master of your emotions, not a slave to her reactions. Because when you stop talking to a woman, you don't lose her. You lose your dependence on her. And in that loss, you gain everything. Her mind begins to unravel, the void you leave behind. As your silence stretches, something begins to shift in her world. At first, she convinced herself that your absence didn't matter, that she was fine, that she didn't need you. But slowly that performance begins to crumble. Because the feminine mind is not built to handle uncertainty for too long. When she doesn't know what you're thinking, when she can't predict your reaction, her sense of control starts slipping away. The truth is, your silence creates a psychological vacuum, a space where her imagination begins to feed on itself. She starts overanalyzing your last words, your tone, your energy. Every detail becomes symbolic. Every silence becomes a statement. She might look calm on the outside, but inside, her thoughts are spinning. The female psyche is emotional by design. It seeks connection, feedback, and reassurance. When that energy disappears, her nervous system begins searching for balance. And ironically, it searches for it in the same man who went silent. But the Stoic man doesn't return easily. He has learned that the more he speaks into chaos, the deeper he sinks into it. So he remains grounded, allowing her storm to pass without reacting. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's the essence of the Stoic silence. You show empathy not through words, but through calmness, through refusing to participate in emotional warfare. This calmness has a strange effect on her. The woman who once thought she had power begins to feel powerless. The one who once ignored your emotions now feels ignored herself. And here's where the shift happens. She starts to miss your presence, not because of who you are externally, but because of what your energy once gave her. Validation, safety, and emotional grounding. The silence exposes her dependency. She starts realizing that while you were chasing peace in her, she was feeding on peace from you. Now that you've withdrawn, she must face her own inner emptiness, something she has long avoided. That's the silent education your withdrawal gives her. That peace cannot come from control, and love cannot come from games. The Stoic man's transformation, from need to nobility. While she's trapped in uncertainty, you enter a new stage of growth. This is where the silence stops being about her and becomes about you. Because when you stop talking, you finally start hearing, not her but yourself. You begin to understand that your old self was loud because it was insecure, that your constant communication was really a plea for connection, and that your desire for validation was disguised as care.
Now, through silence, you evolve.
Epictetus taught, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." You begin to see that losing her attention was never suffering. It was liberation from dependency. Your energy that once chased her starts flowing into discipline, focus, and purpose. You rediscover your center, the man who was buried under emotional noise. This is where the transformation of the Stoic male happens. You realize that peace is not found in how she responds, but in how you remain. Each day you stay silent, your emotional muscles grow stronger. You start feeling a strange new form of control. Not over her, but over yourself. Your thoughts become still. Your heart slows down. You start enjoying solitude. You understand that solitude is not loneliness. It's alignment. It's the moment you stop needing validation to feel worthy. She begins to sense this change from afar, because energy never lies. And when a man becomes grounded, the feminine feels it instinctively. She may not understand why, but she'll feel drawn again. Yet this time she's drawn not to the same man she once knew, but to the stillness that now defines him. And that's the paradox. The moment you stop needing her, she starts wanting you. Not because you tried to get her back, but because you've become something rare. A man who can exist in silence without losing himself. The world, and women especially, crave that kind of emotional stability, but few ever find it. When she comes back and you don't chase, time passes, and your absence begins to echo louder than her pride. She might reach out, maybe with a small message, maybe with nostalgia, maybe with anger disguised as curiosity. But remember, when she finally speaks again, it's not just a message. It's an admission. It's proof that your silence has done what your words never could. It made her listen. This is where the Stoic man faces his final test, because her return will test your discipline more than her departure ever did. It's easy to stay silent when you're angry. It's hard to stay composed when she wants back in. You'll be tempted to speak, to explain, to reignite the warmth that once existed. But the Stoic remembers, peace came only after he stopped needing that warmth. Marcus Aurelius said, "You must build your life action by action, and be satisfied if each one achieves its goal." Your goal is no longer to win her, but to stay centered. If your silence has taught her respect, then her return will be peaceful. If she only returns to reclaim her ego, her chaos will expose itself quickly, and your calm will protect you again. So when she comes back, do not rush. Let her words pass through you like wind through mountains. You have already learned that real strength lies in stillness, not in reaction. If she truly values what she lost, your calm will remind her of what peace felt like when she was near you. And if she doesn't, you lose nothing, because you no longer depend on her presence for meaning. This is the essence of Stoicism in relationships. You cannot control her feelings, her choices, or her timing, only your own response. And when your response is silence filled with purpose, no one can manipulate you again. You become a man who is complete, whether she stays or walks away. Because your peace is no longer in her, it's in your discipline, the enlightenment of detachment, her awakening and your freedom. There comes a point when your silence no longer feels like discipline, it becomes natural. What once felt like resistance now feels like peace. You no longer wake up thinking about her, checking her presence or wondering what she's doing. Your mind, once restless and dependent on emotional stimulation, finally becomes still. That stillness is not emptiness, it's mastery. It's the space where clarity lives. The Stoics called it apatheia, freedom from the tyranny of passions. It doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means your feelings no longer rule you. When you reach this stage, your silence evolves. It's no longer a tool, it's a truth. You don't stay silent to prove a point. You stay silent because you have nothing left to prove. You don't need to make her realize anything anymore, because realization has already occurred within you. And ironically, this is exactly when she begins to wake up. Something inside her senses the difference. She can feel that the man who once reacted to her silence with fear now meets hers with indifference. That the man who once sought her attention now walks freely in his own world. She begins to feel that energetic gap. The same gap that used to exist when you were chasing and she was distant. Except now the roles have reversed. She becomes the seeker. You become the stillness. She may start reappearing in subtle ways, watching your stories, mentioning your name to mutual friends, posting things that seem targeted but vague. She won't always approach directly, because pride still whispers in her ear. But deep down, she knows she lost something that's not easy to replace. A man who could love deeply yet detach completely. And this realization doesn't just stir attraction, it stirs respect. Because women may desire many men, but they only respect those who cannot be emotionally conquered. The Stoic man doesn't mistake her return for victory. He knows that attraction built on curiosity is fleeting, but respect born from silence is lasting. He welcomes her if her intentions are real, but never abandons his peace to please her again. This is the ultimate Stoic awakening, to understand that love without freedom is dependency, and silence without peace is suppression. But when silence grows from wisdom, it becomes the foundation of power. In this power, you are no longer controlled by desire or rejection. You are free to walk away or to stay, not because emotion demands it, but because reason allows it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Your silence now embodies that truth. You speak only when words add value. You stay when peace remains, and you leave when your soul starts to shrink. And for her, this silence becomes unforgettable, not because you vanished, but because you grew beyond her understanding. She will remember the man who didn't need noise to be heard, who didn't fight to be loved, and who found strength not in dominance but in detachment. That's the essence of the Stoic masculine, not to conquer women, but to conquer yourself. The Stoic conclusion, silence is the final word. In the end, silence teaches you everything words never could. It shows you who truly values your presence and who only valued your attention. It reveals how easily love turns into ego when one person stops feeding it. But most of all, it shows you the truth of your own spirit. When you stop talking to her, you don't just stop a conversation, you start a transformation. You begin to see what's real. You realize that the energy you once wasted explaining yourself was the same energy you needed to evolve. The modern world confuses communication with connection. It teaches men that constant talking solves emotional chaos. But the Stoics understood that most chaos is born from words spoken without thought. True peace doesn't come from being understood. It comes from being clear within yourself. So you stop talking, you stop chasing, you stop performing. And in that silence, you discover something rare, that you were never truly losing her. You were only losing the version of yourself that needed her to feel whole. That's the paradox of Stoicism. When you stop clinging, what's meant for you returns freely. And if it doesn't, you remain free, Because what the Stoics mastered wasn't detachment from love. It was detachment from dependence. A woman will do many things when you stop talking to her. She may test, she may withdraw, she may come back, but all of that is her journey. Yours is different. Yours is to become so calm, so internally anchored, that her storms no longer move you. Your silence becomes a temple, a sacred space where peace resides. And in that space, the woman who truly values your energy will find her way back. Not through manipulation, but through recognition. Recognition that your stillness is not emptiness, but discipline. So stay silent, not to punish her, but to honor yourself. Stay grounded, not to appear strong, but to become unshakable. Because the Stoic man doesn't win through noise, he wins through presence. And in a world that constantly shouts, the man who learns to remain silent becomes the loudest of all.